Okay, on the first page, one like this, it's a simple proportion. You just cross multiply and divide. 3 times 24, or 3 times 3, or 24, divided by 4.
Can we write on these?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, these are for you. So x is 18. Now on these, some of you just had answers. That'll be counted wrong if you just have an answer. This one you could probably do without writing anything down. And I know I should have told you, I forgot. I know I saw a couple of you doing work on scratch paper, which is okay. But when you're done, you got to put on here how you did it. You got to write on there that 7x equals 6x plus 12. If you don't have that written down there, then I'm just assuming you copied the answer down from someone. So everyone understand how I got 6x plus 12? You got to take the 6 times both of them. And then it's easy to solve. You could probably do this in your head without showing it, but it'd be x equals 12. This one would be 17 times 2x is 34x equals 6 times 68, 408. So you just have to divide by 34 and you get 12. Number 4, 5 times x, 5x, equals 2 times both of those would be 2x, plus 2 times 15 is 30. So move the 2x over, so you got to subtract 2x, and then divide by 3, and you get 10. Here, 5b times 3 is 15b. 4 times both of those, 4 times 8 is 32. 4 times a positive b is positive 4b. So move the 4b over. It's positive, so you subtract it. And then divide by 11. You could leave your answer like that because it's an odd answer, 32 elevenths. You could write it as 2 and 10 elevenths if you wanted to. Most of you did the decimal, which is 2.90 repeating. It's just the 90 that keeps repeating, 90, 90, 90. So you just need to write the first 2 that repeat. So here, 7 times 2c is 14c. Take the 9 times both of those. That would be 18c minus,
135.
what is it? 135. So get the 18c out of there. It's a plus, so you minus it. And then divide by negative 4. So the negatives will cancel. 33.75. I know I told you you can round in nearest tenth, which would be okay if you put 33.8. But if it's a short decimal like that, you might as well just put it because that's 3/4. Then this one, following the pattern, b over 3, they went that over that. So you just got to follow the same pattern, a over 2. On this one, to get a 10 over 16, they doubled this and they doubled that. So you got to double that and double that. So since it's not a number, you just put 2m, double the m, over 2n, double the n. This one, they took the 7 plus the p, and then the bottom stayed the same. So you got to do the same thing here. The 3 plus the q, and then the bottom stays the same. And then in number 10, they went 7 over a. So following that pattern, it would be 2 over b. So 2 is the only one that's missing there. Okay, solving for x, it would be x to 3, follow the same pattern, 5 to 7. So these are simple ones. Again, show your work. If you put just an answer without a proportion, I'm going to assume you copied. It's 5 times 3 divided by 7. And this one is an odd, it's 2.14. So you could have just rounded it to 2.1. It's actually 2 1/7 if we left it as a fraction. So this one, you would go x over 2 equals 6 over 4. So it's just 6 times 2 is 12, divided by 4 is 3. Here, x plus 4 over x, or I could go x over that, doesn't matter, equals, following the same pattern, I would go that over that, 34 over 26. So this one you have to write an equation. X times 34 is 34x equals 26 times both of those, would be 26x plus 104. So, get the x's together, so I'd have to subtract 26x. And you'd get 8x equals 104. And that is 13. Here we got x to 9 equals 12 to 15. So it's just 12 times 9 divided by 15. 7.2. Here you go, x to 16 equals, now you don't have to use this piece to this, you just got to follow the pattern. Since I went this to this, you could go 48 to 36, the whole length to the whole length. So it'd just be 16 times 48 divided by 36. 21.3 repeating. Here we got x to x plus 5 equals 12 to 16. So you got to write an equation. X times 16 is 16x equals, take the 12 times both of those, 12x plus 60. So get the 12x out of there, it's a plus, so you minus it. 4x equals 60, so when you divide by 4, it's 15, right? Okay, then the scale factor. It tells you what order to do it right there. This means you got to take a side off of A, B, C, D and put it over the corresponding side there. So I could just take 3 to 6. And then you don't have to reduce it, but you can, that would reduce to 1/2. This one's the same question, it's just backwards. They want WXY first over A, B, C, D. So it's just the opposite, 6 to 3, which you would reduce to 2 to 1. So then to find S, T, and U, you got to write proportions. S corresponds to 7. And then since I went this to this, I could just go 3 to 6.
I was gonna say, since you're writing on the formula, do you really have to write out all the proportions?
I have a worksheet from yesterday.
Because you can kind of just like
I
look
have a
at them.
worksheet from yesterday.
Because you can kind of just look at them and tell, can't you?
Yeah, you can.
Because like the two sides on the side are like equal, and then
Yep,
you
this
take-
one's an easy one that you could, yeah.
That's what I did on the test, I just like looked at the other side. and
Yeah.
the other side.
Now these are, you can tell, since this is doubled, this is gonna be doubled, right? And that's gonna be cut in half. So no, these are easy ones. You wouldn't have to do a proportion, but if you did, you would do that. So S turns out to be 3.5. To find T, the proportion would be T to 3.5 equals 6 to 3. So you go 6 times 3.5 divided by 3. Or you could just notice that it's doubled that, so it'd be 7. And then for U would be half of that, so it'd have to be 5. The proportion would be U to 10 equals 3 to 6. So it's 30 divided by 6. Then find the perimeter of each one. So since we know all the sides, you can find the perimeter. 7, 10, that'd be 15. The other one should be 30. Yep. And then the ratio of perimeter of this to this, A, B, C, D, it's going to be the exact same as this one. That's the shortcut. Or you could just take your numbers here, 15 to 30. Remember, ratio of the perimeter is exactly the same as the scale factor. You just got to choose the one that's in the same order, A, B, C, D to W, X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
So, these are just yes or no's. If you check from 2x to x or x to 2x, that simplifies to 1/2. If you do the same thing, 2.25 to 4.5, that would give you 0.5, which is 1/2. So these two sides are proportional. You could have did it the other way, it would have been easier. I suppose 2x divided by x is 2, 4.5 divided by 2.25 is 2. And then the angle in between them is, I didn't ask for the reason, but it's either got to be SAS, SSS, or angle. So since it's SAS, this one is a yes. So again, you either need to know 3 things, or 2 things. This one you only know 1, so you don't know enough. Here,
They're parallel.
parallel, which means corresponding angles are congruent, and vertical. So the angle would work, you know, 3 angles, but angle works.
Were we supposed to write those?
No, it was just yes or no. If you put the reason, that counted too, though. This one, all we know is the right angle, so not enough information. Here again, we've got parallel lines, which means corresponding angles are congruent. So there we know angle. So that would be yes. And this one, these two are marked, and this is a shared angle there. So angle works for that one too. Then filling in the missing parts, AB to BD, AB corresponds to GF, BD corresponds to FD. CD over AD, CD corresponds to ED, and AD corresponds to GD. GF to ED, GF corresponds to AB, and ED is to CD. 31, DD corresponds to DC, and GF corresponds to AB. AB corresponds to GF, and CB corresponds to EF. If you wrote it FE, that's the same as EF, it doesn't matter. Same with all of these, they could be backwards. GF corresponds to AB, and GE corresponds to AC. So, since the house is 10 by 15, it's enlarged by a scale factor of 6/5. What are the dimensions? You just got to take 6/5 times 10, which I think is 12, right? And then 6/5 times 15, which is 18, right?
Yeah, it
I did
is.
something completely.
So remember, if you don't have a calculator, you just go 6 divided by 5 times 10.
Do we
60.
have to show work for that, or can we just?
No,
like,
that
sense
one
it
you can just
solves
punch in the calculator, yep.
I did not do that really.
it?
I did something.
Yep, it's 18. And then the last one, here's the A prime, B prime, C prime, here's the A, B, C, so it's getting smaller. Remember, the one with the prime marks is the image. So this is a reduction. And then you have a choice to figure out the scale factor. You just need to use two corresponding parts. The hardest ones to use is this. The distance from D to C prime is 3, but you can't use 6 because that's not the same corresponding distance. You would have to use 9.
Wouldn't you probably just take the 18 to 6?
These two are the easier ones to use. 6 to 18, which you don't have to reduce again, but you could. It'd be 1/3, or it'd be 3 to 1. Since it's a reduction, which one would it be?
3 to 1.
1/3, because a reduction gets smaller.
I think
An enlargement is over 1.
you don't take like the regular thing and then if you get it smaller, that's how I did it. So
Yeah, remember, if it's getting smaller, you gotta use the one that's less than 1. If it's getting bigger, you use the one that's greater than 1.
Did you throw, I guess like,